I do understand that you do not want to believe that Dwight Eisenhower could have helped authorize the removal of JFK. No way, you say. I do understand that you think that Dwight Eisenhower is an American hero. But Dwight Eisenhower is an American hero only because you have been programmed your entire life through repeated documentaries that Dwight Eisenhower was a great man. You've been heavily dosed inside an opium den of propaganda to believe such. And I know that because I was programmed long before you. You'll scream out that he won World War II. He was the commander of the armies. And you'll march behind Sean Hannity, sing the Star Spangled Banner, and call me an America hater. But I'm not an America hater. I'm an American lover, at least an American Republic lover. And I don't like disingenuous frauds like Dwight Eisenhower. I don't like people who pretend to be that they're one thing when they're not. Well, maybe I did do some good things, but nobody gets a glowing report in life. In reality, Dwight Eisenhower did a lot of bad things to this republic of ours. In a nutshell, Dwight Eisenhower was our first emperor. He was our first Caesar. Dwight Eisenhower, more than any other president, transformed our beautiful republic into an empire. He ruthlessly used the Central Intelligence Agency to interfere in the affairs of other nations so as to subjugate them under the boot of corporate America. This exploitation goes on today. It goes on in Haiti, where our workers fight to make $5 a day. It goes on in Indonesia, where workers make a little bit more money, but not much. It goes on in many countries of Africa. It goes on in Central America. When we are not exploiting them, we are ruthlessly stealing their minerals through war, which is what we have fought constantly during the last 50 years and more. Nothing could be more antithetical to Christianity or any faith than our recent forays into the Middle East, into which we supplied the bombs that killed thousands upon thousands of innocent Palestinian children. Do unto others as you would have others do unto you is what many faiths teach. The CIA violates this basic principle every day of the week. Think about that. This is the danger of creating heroes like Eisenhower. Heroes, especially when they're created by an immoral ruling class, can do amazing damage to the people who these heroes are elected to protect. Dwight Eisenhower was their star. In short, Dwight Eisenhower transformed himself from a regular Kansas farm boy into a monster. And the only reason that you believe he is not a monster is because you've been programmed to believe that he's a great man. Well, I suppose that if you believe in the American empire and subjugation and exploitation of people around the globe, then he is a great man. But if you believe in an American republic that is one exceptional nation amongst many exceptional nations that must work in partnership, then you must come to realize that Dwight Eisenhower was not a great man. And as I've stated before, Eisenhower absolutely unequivocally would call for the removal of any man who threatened that American empire that he so carefully constructed during the 1950s. Remember that Dwight Eisenhower was the commander of the armies during World War II. As a commander of an army, you have to fight a nasty war in which many of your soldiers will die. Ike was well accustomed to sending men to their death. Ike knew that soldiers would die advancing up the beaches of Normandy from those boats. He was accustomed to making those decisions. He understood those losses were necessary to achieve an end. It wouldn't bother him at all to take out one more man, John Kennedy, who stood in the way of his and his colleagues' supreme goal, that being the American empire and the Pax Americana that the world lives under today. Do not confuse yourself or your grandfather or your great-grandfather with Dwight Eisenhower. Your grandfather and great-grandfather and great-great-grandfather were honorable people. They came together to defeat an oppressive Nazi force. But that's not necessarily why Dwight Eisenhower, FDR, Churchill, and the leaders of yesterday fought World War II. Yes, they came together to defeat the Nazis, but your leaders had another reason for defeating Hitler, the reason they don't like to talk about. They wanted to replace German imperialism with American imperialism, and in so doing, make a huge pile of cash. And that's not why your grandfather or great-grandfather fought the war. Nor did your grandfather and great-grandfather fight a war to fundamentally transform the country away from its core values. Your relatives did not fight a war to play dirty tricks upon other nations. Your family members fought the war to preserve those values. Never confuse yourself with your leaders. Never allow Sean Hannity and other chicken hawk boobs ally you with your greedy leaders who have gotten fantastically rich off you. And never think that exploitation of others benefits you economically. The same force, the all-powerful federal government that brutalizes people around the world, also brutalizes you in its misguided quest to dominate the world. And that's why so many Americans live homeless today. That's why so many Americans can barely get by. Your money, your valuable money, is sucked away from you and sequestered in the vaults of corporate America and its billionaire owners by an ever-expanding military-industrial complex. Oh, but I warned us about the military-industrial complex, right? That's a joke. Eisenhower warning us about the military-industrial complex is a comedic act of unparalleled proportions. Dwight Eisenhower was the military-industrial complex. He was the commander of the armies. He was the president of the United States. He was fully invested in the military-industrial complex. He built it from the ground up. He was, in every sense of the word, an American Caesar. Out.